So let's go on and let's take up House Bill 1871. Motion second.
This has an amendment also, Mr. Chairman.
It's just, well, we don't need a motion. It's traveling with, the bill is amended in its
All right.
form that's with us.
All this bill says is that natural immunity is just as effective, as good, or better than the COVID-19 shot. And I have reams of studies to show that. We had professional testimony to verify that in the two health committees. And it says that in this state, businesses and everybody else will recognize that natural immunity is as good. And then that's the whole point of the bill, is for that kind of recognition.
All righty, thank you, sir. And it's my well, I know I heard this bill in full health, and it's been vetted there several times. I appreciate you bringing this. My wife and I struggled trying to figure out what was going on, but the comparison between natural immunity and the shot, and as time has gone on, we've had more and more studies, and I think we're in a different place these days than we were when we were scrambling around trying to deal with the crisis. So I want to thank you for bringing this. Do we have any questions on this bill? We have the inquisitive Representative Towns today. Representative Towns, you're recognized.
Always that way, sir. Natural immunity, Mr. Chairman, would that be equivalent to what God gives us once we've gone through a process?
That's exactly correct.
So who's going to beat the Lord?
And that's exactly correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chairman Thompson, or Representative Thompson.
Thank you for the promotion, and Mr. Chairman. So, you know, the CDC has said that vaccinations are at least twice as much more effective than natural immunity, and other studies have said the same thing. So you're saying that all those studies are invalid? They're not really true?
Chairman Halsey.
I'm saying two things. There are very, very many credible studies that show just the opposite, that it is robust, that it lasts a long time, that the memory from T cells lasts a long time. And I'm agreeing with the gentleman right beside you that I don't think anybody in a lab can design an immune system that is superior to the one the creator of this universe designed.
Representative Thompson, you're recognized.
Excuse me. I'm not going to go against all the studies that have said just the opposite of what you're saying. So I'm just going to have to vote no. And personally, I've had COVID and I've had vaccinations, so I don't know which one's better for me personally, but the studies have said vaccinations are better.
All right, thank you, sir. Chairman Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Halsey, thank you for bringing this bill. And just to put this on the record, on January 19th, this article is in Reuters. The CDC put out a study that COVID infection is up to 6 times more effective than vaccination is, and the immunity from vaccination. Again, look that up yourself. It's on Reuters, January 19th of this year. If we're going to talk about facts and we're going to talk about evidence-based data, let's talk about the studies. Let's talk about the data. Again, please look this up. This is a study from the CDC that says natural immunity can be up to 6 times more effective than vaccination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Hazelwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to point out that this amendment says that this natural immunity must be verified by a licensed physician, a letter, documentation, a laboratory test. It's not just me saying I have natural immunity. There's a verification process.
That is correct. And it can be validated by either two ways, a doctor's letter or that you've gone and had the antibody test, yes.
Thank you.
Chairman Camp, or Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question about what Chairman Zachary just mentioned. Were you saying that after you've had COVID-19, you build up these antibodies, and that is what is 6 times more? Is that what you were saying?
I believe, Leader Camper, I believe Yes, that is the case, and that we've seen studies from that. There have been several of them, and that's why, in my estimation, the one thing that we need to do more than anything, particularly as we ride this, and I'm going to editorialize a little bit. Don't get your medical advice from Twitter or Facebook. Go see your doctor. Work with your clinician to establish the best plan for you as an individual so you can know all the risks and all the rewards from the treatment pattern that you've gotten. And so we can, these days, there's information out there, overload, and some that is placed for less than beneficial purposes. And so from my perspective, I just want everybody to have that type of relationship so you can have as much information from the person that's helping you decide your personal health care plan. And so with that, I will climb down off my soapbox and recognize Leader Camper one more time.
Thank you. I appreciate, the commentary, actually. I just want to make sure I heard what I thought he said. So good. I was glad to know that's what you said. So my next question, Mr. Chairman, is the licensed physician that Chair Lady just spoke of, Mr. Sponsor. Are you talking about a medical doctor? What type of physician, or does it matter, or?
Chairman Halsey.
The amendment is specific to a medical doctor, I believe, yes.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Sponsor.
Representative Calfee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 years ago, I didn't have to campaign any because my wife and I were at death's door with COVID-19, and we survived. And I think one of the reasons we survived is so we can raise Sawyer, the 2-year-old we have. But once we were cleared, we donated plasma, and we had the antibodies. And they told us that we helped 8 people recover from COVID-19 through our antibodies. A guy came in my office last spring, I guess. Didn't know him, hadn't seen him before or since. And he said, I understand you and your wife were real sick with COVID. I said, we sure were. He said, and you donated antibodies, the plasma, and they had the antibodies. I said, yes, sir. He said, I was saying my last prayers because I knew I was going to die in a few minutes. And the doctor came in and said, we've got something we're going to give you we think will help you. He said 3 days I was home. So I believe in antibodies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Bud.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And I think one thing that regardless of the position you take on these issues is we are all very grateful that it appears we're coming through the tunnel. We see the light at the end of the tunnel and we're getting out of this. So I noticed I was following the positive cases in Shelby County over the last 3 days. On the 13th, we had 20. On the 14th, we had 11. And today, we've had 14 positive cases. That looks like the beginning of an endemic as opposed to a pandemic. And I know that we are all very grateful where we are. So, seeing no more conversation to be had on this matter, we've got a question. All those in favor of sending Chairman Halsey's bill 1871 to Calendar and Rules, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. All righty. Please register those noes with the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you, Chairman Halsey. House Bill 2242 by Representative Ogles. We've got a motion and a second. You're in proper posture, sir. We've also got an amendment that we need to deal with, and since it rewrites the bill, let's take care of that, a little bit of housekeeping before we hear about it. Motion on the amendment, and then we've got drafting code 014399. Does that correspond with yours?
That's correct, Chairman. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. All those in favor of attaching it to the bill, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. It's on the bill now. Let's talk about House Bill 2242.
Thank you, Chairman.